We are live rather than dead. Okay, our conversation today it's Monday. It's every week at this time at noon Eastern. We raise the vibration and share the positive. If you have not joined me on YouTube, I share with you at this time our vibrational guest, who is Perla Shumalath, and we are going to have a chat in a moment. But first of all, before we begin, I want somebody who is first in the feed to choose which deck we're going to pull the card, or I'm going to pull the card from today. Either the I am sacred, so you can type in green, or I am vibrational and type in orange. And while you are doing that, I'm going to light my candle, and hopefully today it will stay alight and not go out because of my wonderful fan that's blowing here and keeping. Oh, it's not wanting to light. Okay. Oh, that's an interesting fact. Okay, it needs a bit of encouragement here. She says as I light my fingers here. Okay, candle is lit. Okay, I'm going to move it over here so I don't set fire to anything, because I've had to. The matchstick was getting a little bit too high. So, all right, Paula, nobody's on yet or haven't been able to put anything up there. Which deck do you want us to choose a card from?
Let's choose the I Am Sacred deck.
Okay, so that's the green deck. Let me just shuffle away here and see what our focus is based on the conversation we're going to have today. And I always conclude that, okay, right, there are 5 cards, which is the one that came out. That's the one that came out. All right, I am sacred, card number 40. I am sacred, filling my vibrational soul with inspirational creativity. Ooh. And of course, that is going to be our card, our focus for today. I will put that up there. So we're all ready to go. I wanted to just say that today my conversation is with returning guests, Perla, and it's going to be high vibrational healing, merging science and spirituality. But before we begin, let me introduce Perla. She offers a totally integrated healing protocol. It encompasses everything from what we put into our body to everything that's around us. And anyone who's seen my Facebook photo and on other parts of social media, Perla also does these amazing spiritual, what are they called? Soul portraits. Yeah, and it's so amazing because I love that, and it, I have so many wonderful comments on it, so I appreciate it. So thank you, Perla, for coming. So I'll let you open the conversation, and if anybody has any questions about what Perla's sharing or I'm sharing today, please put it up in the feed. And if you're joining us after the live feed, place questions there or contact Perla directly, and all her information is on the feed of this particular show.
Wow. Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
That's a mouthful.
Why say it in one word when you can say it in 10?
Oh my gosh, there's just so much to talk about. Thank you again for having me back on. And I always enjoy our magical conversations. They're always so much fun and informative. And so thank you very much. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
And so much has happened since I think the last time I was on was in June.
June, yes. Oh my God.
I don't remember now, but so much has happened, vibrationally, I think, in the cosmos, in the universe, on planet Earth, everywhere with people. People are shifting and changing, and it's such a marvelous and wonderful process to watch, observe how the world is changing at such a rapid rate.
Isn't it just this year? It's almost like speeded up.
I know.
Like we're condensing 10 years into less than 8 months.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
I know. And it's just such a beautiful thing to watch. So many people are coming to realize their truth and
Yes.
starting to vibrate at a higher rate, at a higher level, and looking at the world in a different way now. And even healing has gone in a different direction.
Yes.
For example, I remember 25 years ago when I was certified as a Reiki master teacher, everything was done. I mean, they talked about, long distance healing, and
Yes.
and sending, vibrations long distance. But the crux of it is for hands-on healing with everybody. And I remember back when I was certified as a Reiki master teacher, we had the option of either laying the hands on the body or above the body.
Right.
So, of course, when you lay it above the body, you're already sending long distance healing to someone. But people just didn't understand that. It was very hard for them to understand it. And, if I'm not getting my massage, I'm not getting
anything.
I'm not getting anything because everybody was so clogged up, they couldn't feel anything. They weren't able to feel the energy or feel the vibrations 25 years ago. So we've come so far in that short period of time to now where everything is changing. Everything's different when it comes to healing, even when it comes to interacting with people. As Tesla says, everything, when you think of, the universe, think in terms of energy and vibration. And that's kind of what's happening now, is everything is energy and vibration and frequency.
Yeah. And I try and sort of say to people when they're saying, but, how does long distance Reiki or long distance healing help, or how does it work? And I always say to people, okay, so you tune into a radio station. You can't see it, but it's there. So it's sent out through the frequency, the waves, the vibration. And of course, that's why we all tune into different stations. Those are exactly the same way. We're connected to that. And that is the same with the healer. They're connected to that person at the other end, as it were. And they don't have to actually touch them because they're doing that in thought process. Just like when we think about somebody and then all of a sudden they phone us, it's like, how does that happen? Because you're sending out, you're transmitting that energy, that frequency out to them.
That's
so
right.
I love it.
So yeah, absolutely correct. So that is how the human information field works. That's the bioenergetic field. You can think of it as the auric field that's around our body that you cannot see, and there's always movement there. Your bioenergetic field is always moving. It's always collecting information from various sources. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, it depends on, where you're at. So if you're sensitive, sometimes as an empath, you collect things that don't even belong to you.
Yeah. Okay? Oh, yeah.
So it's important that you're able to discern which is which, okay, and ask yourself the question, does this belong to me? When you have a feeling of something or another, or sometimes clients have told me, oh my gosh, today I had this feeling of doom and gloom. And they're just going off
and
the
you
wire.
decided to keep it.
So the important question would be, well, does this belong to you, or are you feeling the collective? What are you feeling in the collective consciousness today? And there's so much energy around the earth that's called, I think you can call it a biomagnetic field of some kind, the Schumann resonance. I mean, there's so many things. There's solar flares that affect our Earth's atmosphere, along with what's going on in the collective right now, which always isn't so pleasant. So people that are sensitive feel those things. And sometimes they have a hard time discerning, is this mine? Is this mine? Is this mine? Or is it the collective that I'm feeling? So that's that's one thing that one must ask oneself when you're feeling that. So
yeah, and this is great. It's great you're sharing this, because a lot of people don't understand that. And I take this back down into simplistic terms as well, that, you know, sometimes it's a sunny day, we feel bright, we feel light and all the rest of it. And sometimes if there's a thunderstorm, we feel heady, we might feel, you know, so we're picking up those vibrations.
Exactly.
You know, and I love it when it rains. I know that sounds, I love the sunshine, please don't get me wrong, but I love it when it rains. There is just something, not only with the sound, but there's also the smell of the rain. When you get there and you can go out and you can feel Mother Earth, it's almost like she's going, oh, she breathes it in and then exudes everything out again. So I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, rain is a release. So, you know, like even with the barometric pressure, you know, when your weather is going to change, the barometer starts to rise or lower. So people that are sensitive feel that, and especially people that say, somebody that has arthritis, well, when they say, "Oh, I feel it in my bones," well, that's the vibration
coming. The farmer would say, because
that's a vibration, and they're feeling the vibration. So, so it's just it's a divide. Matter can be divided into two sections. One is matter and one is information. So it depends on how you take that in to your system and discern what it is. So, and I think, Debbie, you've frozen up, so I'm just going to continue on.
So if you've lost us, we're back again. Yeah, we were talking about this beforehand, that, you know, with the thunderstorms that are happening where we both live at the moment, it can affect everything that's going on around with our transmission. So apologies on that. So we've already got it worked that if one of us goes off, the other one just keeps talking.
So all I said is that there's a human information field, and there's matter and energy always flying around. And when they collide, then you have a creative process. And that's the quantum energy. All right. That's how energy is sent long distance. It's how we process things. If we're feeling something that isn't so positive, there are ways now to help yourself using technology. The technology is available now. It's here. And it's not anything that's ET science anymore. So I've been fortunate enough to delve right into this since May. The last time I was on the show, I just was starting to delve into it and became very interested in how we can use quantum energy for healing. And everybody can have it now that wants it. Everyone can have relief. Everybody can have healing if they want it, regardless of where they live in the world, because this energy can be sent long distance. It's not a hands-on thing anymore. The newest thing is to send it out long distance and through frequency, and using frequencies. And I mean, using frequencies isn't anything new. Okay,
no, that's been around for beyond centuries.
Right, for around. They used to use these machines. You're probably familiar with them in the UK. They used to use them to what do I say, to make the crops grow bigger and faster. You know, it's frequencies. It was actually, this is back in the early 2000s when I went to Toronto to be trained on actually crystal therapy of all things. And this was years ago, and this woman that I went to study with had a Rife machine or something like that, and she was using it to send frequencies. Okay,
right.
The difference now with that is that the technology is so upgraded now, and it's so specific now that you can send the frequency, and it's tailored to that person's bioenergetic field. It's not just a frequency like a singing bowl, you know, the same frequency. this is actually can tailor to the person's bioenergetic field or auric field, however you want to look at it, and intake into the field exactly what they need at that moment. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So
I've been working with solfeggio sounds in the last short while, and I'm working with somebody at the moment. We're just creating this platform with this different tones that are going to come in that actually balance everything. The one thing I do want to bring up to anybody that's watching today is when we have negative coming up in our auric, our human, our spiritual flow at the moment, it's because we need to deal with it. Okay, a lot of people are still thinking that we need to suppress it, and this is the year of balance. This is the year where we need to bring the day, night, light, dark, good, bad, happy, sad, male, female, all of those into balance, not one being higher, one being lower. And so this is where, when things are coming up for us, whether we think it's to do with anger or disbelief or betrayal or any of those, what I call emotions that we always think, oh, I've got to suppress this. Bring it out into the open, say hello, come to terms with it, because it's only then when we do that that we realize it's okay, this can reside within me. You know, sometimes I need to bring in the male energy and be a little bit more assertive. And maybe I need to bring in the female energy where I need to be a little bit softer. And I'm not saying that men are more assertive and not softer, because it's the same with them. They need to bring in the two elements as well. So this is a great time, especially at the moment. We're just moved into September, when all this needs to be addressed within our own humanness. And so what you're talking about, these ways to help us, is great, because this is important too. But we have to personally deal with our shifts. And I did say SHIFTS, okay?
So it's all about also with this type of energy, it's our fourth dimensional energy, okay? This is the electromagnetic field that surrounds our body. It's called the Taurus, Taurus. It is a sacred geometry concept. So if you're curious about it, you can Google it. But it is the fourth dimensional energy. It's our intuition, our inner senses. And the way to amplify that energy is through our heart frequencies, okay? It all comes back to amplifying our love for our fellow humans, our fellow human beings, for ourselves. And the Taurus energy, the Taurus, it's spelled, it represents the electromagnetic field that surrounds us. And this can expand up to 8 feet. Some researchers even
up to 30?
5 miles.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I've heard 30 feet.
Yeah, 5 miles.
Wow, yeah.
So this Taurus energy has the potential to pick up all information that surrounds us. And the axis of the Taurus lies in the center of our heart chakra. It connects us to our inner senses and with those all around us. So we can pick up, especially if we're sensitive as empaths, we can pick up the mood and feelings of everyone around us. And then we call this our intuition. Okay. And the Taurus, of course, connects us to the universal love. Okay. Which is all we are striving for, is to open up our heart chakras, feel that love. And so how do you do that? I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, the important part about all of this at the moment is us not having to take on the weight of the world. And I think this is sometimes with people that are empathic in that way, that they're open, and it's like this whole wash, like a tsunami, comes at them.
Right.
And they're drowned underneath it. And this is where we can put up that barrier.
Right.
With our gold. And you know, I've shared this many times, that this is a daily doing, if you like, for 30 days, standing in the shower, visualizing golden water covering you. And what's happening with gold is it stops. It allows things that you need to deal with, or that you need to address, or you need to be aware of, to come through. And then the rest, it can be held back. Like I always say, like the inside of a swimming pool, you know, that plastic liner that goes in there, it just holds it. But if we puncture a hole in it, or we slice it open, then it all just comes rushing out. So that's just a simple sequence. If you do it every day for 30 days, what it does, it becomes an innate part of us. We just do it naturally. Like we get into the vehicle now, we don't have to think about, I've got to put my seatbelt on, I've got to check my mirrors. We automatically just do it. We don't have to remind ourselves every time we get in there. And that's what happens, and it stops it. So this is what works for me, and I know it works for many people. And you have other things that you want to share as well.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about kind of on the same lines about the human heart, you know.
Yeah.
So the human heart, the heart chakra, how vibration affects it. So if you have, you know, your center line is the Taurus. This is that energetic field that surrounds the body, that's picking up all that information. So if you have any negative emotions, that are creating chaos within your nervous system. You know, people probably know this, but the positive emotions do the opposite. Okay. And that's why we need to keep our vibration high and ourselves positive as much as we can, because the positive emotions also increase the brain's ability to make good decisions.
Yeah.
Okay. It also boosts the immune system by focusing on, when you focus on positive emotions, your immune system is boosted.
Yep.
They create physiological benefits to the body. Also in fetal development, the heart forms and starts beating before the brain begins to develop. Yes. Did you know that?
Yep.
Human heart is a magnetic field that can be measured from several feet away from the body as well.
And this is why when I remember many years ago being in Australia, and was very blessed to go to the sanctuary where the dolphins are out in the wild, and then they come in so that they can basically count them to make sure all the whales are there, and they allow you to stand in the water. You're not allowed to touch them, but the dolphin will come up and basically touch you. It is quite amazing because they're curious. And especially, and what I'm leading to here is pregnant women, when they're standing in there, it's like the dolphin wants to just communicate with that fetus inside by circling or being there with the mother. And you know, I was very blessed this time when I was there to actually see this happen. And the woman was standing there, she said, I just want to hold it, I just want to touch it. But you know, and of course she was I think 3 or 4 months pregnant, standing there in the water, and this dolphin just making this connection, and all the other dolphins were coming and listening, and they were chattering away. So I wonder, because I obviously don't know that lady, of how that communication's going on with that baby since it's been born, because that was many years ago.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing what the electrical impulses of the heart avail to our bioenergetic field. Because when our hearts are shut down, of course, then the rest of us shuts down.
Yes.
And as we shut down electrically, our cells are shutting down, as you know. And when the cells start to shut down electrically, or if they lose that biomagnetic charge, then our life force energy starts to go down. And that's what happens to the elderly as they get older. As we get older, our cells aren't where they used to be, and they're all charged with an electromagnetic charge. It's called ATP. And as you lose ATP in the cells, you start to just decline. So the wonderful thing about that is that there's no need for that anymore, because there's technology now available to us that helps to recharge ourselves, okay, to give us that life force energy back.
Yeah.
So then once we have our life force energy back in our body, that's our energy, life force energy, or our chi. Once we have that back in our body, we're then able to connect spiritually, emotionally, mentally, connect with our chakras, connect with our mental and mind stuff. If we have no charge in our body, we can't even connect with anything, let alone, ourselves or other people. So, excuse me. As I said, there is technology now available to us. It's been available now. I was first introduced to it back when I lived in the Okanagan, and I went to a presentation and listened to this. And it's, at that time I was in a whole different place.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and I said yes, and then I said no. Okay, based upon my belief system at that time, and I let it slide, and continued to suffer. So. When I was ready, though, I embraced it. I was reintroduced to it again in a smaller form, okay, and one that it was easier for me to understand. Let me put it that way. And I was introduced to it, and it was just incredible. I was so blown away by it. I couldn't even describe it in words.
Yeah.
It was so.
And for anybody listening, I try and say that there's also the one I always go to first, and I suppose is I always say go to mother. And I mean as in Mother Nature. And especially at the moment when people are feeling out of sorts or disconnected or overwhelmed, I always say to them, go lay on the grass, or put your feet in a lake or a river or somewhere where you can connect with that flow going past you. I always say, be like the Vitruvian man, where you have your hands out, your legs open, your palms down, if you can do that, or palms up, whichever you feel more comfortable with, and just let Mother, vibrate through you, because she's there and she's, calling out to us all the time. And I think we forget that. We get so busy and we're going, well, I have to do this, or I have to do that, or maybe I've got to do, go here or go there. Or, I go, find a patch of grass, find a body of water and immerse yourself. Like, if you can go into the water, great. If not, just sit there or place your hands in it. And if you can't do that, as in you can't get outside for whatever reasons, health reasons, then have a bowl of water. Just place your hands in the bowl of water and let your fingers swirl around and just have that connection, because I think this is where we feel sometimes that things are outside of our ability to be able to shift and change that. So I'm all for machines. I'm all for technology, because that's how we're doing this now and how we're able to share. But I also want to take people back literally to the grassroots of this is how you can do it. Because I think as we move forward, there's so much wonderful technology out there. There's so many different therapies. There's so many opportunities. I think that's the word to use, because that's what they are. They're opportunities for us to explore. And if it resonates with us, then work with it. And if it doesn't, then move on. That's why some people are drawn to crystals. Some people are drawn to cards. Some people are drawn to pendulums or Reiki or access bars, or all these wonderful different healing modalities that are there. And I think it's like, going into the mall and seeing all the shops. There's going to be one that rings out and says to you, come on inside. This is probably the place you want to visit for now. And then others where you just go, no, this is not me. So I love it. I love that we have these opportunities.
And they all have all those opportunities that you mentioned. They all have their own frequency.
Yes, exactly.
The Vitruvian man, that mentioned, because I was studying him through one of my spiritual teachers. And what I learned about the Vitruvian man is that he, everything is related to sound, frequency, and vibration.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned that the Vitruvian man is connected to the harmonic 111.
Yes.
So if you're into sound or whatever, look that up. Look up
Yes.
the harmonic 111, and it also connects to the magic square of the sun.
Yes.
Okay, so look that all up.
Yeah.
And enjoy it, because it's all available to us. And like you said, Mother Nature is just a marvelous healer. I mean, if you really look into nature, you will discover the secrets of the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
And we were just talking about,
yeah,
we were just talking earlier before we came live about where we live and the area we live in Canada at the moment, where there's so many great fresh fruit and fresh vegetables. And, I said I sort of have this orgasmic explosion because I love my veggies. I love my fruits. I love my meat too, but I love all of what is there. And, when it's fresh and straight out of the ground, and I've got friends that grow stuff and say, hey, would you like some of this? And I'm always open arms, open heart, bring it on. I have room in my refrigerator, or I'm going to can it or do something with it so that I can get the most of it. And, it's so beautiful. Like, even when I go to the park and I walk around there, I see the lavender growing. So, of course, I always pick a few sprigs. But one of the things I do is actually rub my hands on the leaves or on the flowers and then just take it in. And the same with sage and mint and all the lovely herbs that we have there. And I use the word herbs, not herbs. So that's the British in me. So we have all this, and we have the ability. And as you say, this connection with Mother Nature and what she offers up to us on a daily basis, that we can't just walk away and not see it.
Right. And your food is total vibration. Food is, I mean, the saying, you are what you eat,
yes,
is truth. And what I found for myself is, as I started to, I've been on a lifelong healing quest, of course. That's my major focus of everything I do. So, as I started to raise my vibration, what I found is I started with sound, like in 2015, I started with sound. So, as I kept raising my vibration up and up, what I found is I wasn't as tolerant to different foods as I was before.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons I had to quit eating meat. And it's also an ethical thing and a moral thing why I don't eat meat. But anyways, I quit eating meat, and then I quit eating wheat, and then I quit eating eggs, and I quit eating gluten, and all those things that were clogging up my system. I found out they were actually clogging up my lymphatic system, and I didn't know it. And I was totally clogged up. I couldn't feel anything. I was just, blown up like a balloon, like as big as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And once I started to release some foods that I was eating, and while I was doing that, I was releasing emotional stuff as well. Okay, because all of our physical ailments, of course, are connected. Our first dimensional things is our physical body are connected to the second dimension, which are chakras, which are emotion and feelings. So a lot of that started to go away, and I started to raise the vibration. And the foods now I eat are I'm totally vegan, okay, where I can be. When I'm consciously aware of it. Like the other night, I wasn't consciously aware. I was probably ate something I shouldn't have, but I did anyway. So, but
maybe we have to do that now and again just to test it.
And your body, I'm having a treat or whatever. It's okay, But the next day, I felt it. I could feel it in my body, and so I have the technology available to me to take care of that right away. And I ran my lymphatic program on myself, and boom, I cleared myself out. And
good.
I'm like, wow.
I know.
I'll just say this. I've also, since I changed my diet and started using frequencies as technology, I have dropped since May 15 pounds.
Good girl.
Without
Of course, assuming you want to.
And I have not, listen, Debbie, I have not released any weight for 22 years.
Yeah.
I had my son, and I went on every fad diet. I've been a vegan for 2 years, and I wasn't losing weight. Okay.
Right.
I was releasing weight. And all of a sudden, when I started to balance my bioenergetic field and using frequencies to upgrade and everything, I'm like, wow, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took all the bloat out. It took all the, water retention, inflammation. Inflammation, of course, causes pain in the body, right? They say, oh, you have fibromyalgia. Well, sometimes it's not the case. You might have inflammation in the body. Right? It's not stuff. Yeah, fibromyalgia is muscle, a pain in the muscle. It's an emotion, unreleased emotion in the muscle. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not that, but the medical system doesn't know what to call it. So they tell everybody you have fibromyalgia, right?
They have to give it a label. They have to, I think it's like anything. When we know what it is, then we sort of rest. It's when you were saying about foods and checking in and stuff like that, as I said before when we were off air, that when I go on tour, I have to listen to what spirits say what I can and cannot put in my body, basically because they're long days. I'm, up very early, going to the end, maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night before I finish. And that may be a sequence of 7 or 8 days. And then I'm traveling for a day and stuff like that. So my whole body gets out of kilter, if you like. So I have to listen to what they say you can eat. Right. And during that time, there are very few meats. There's definitely no alcohol, which is okay. But I don't drink pop or anything like that. So the sugar level is reduced as well. Because if I have a chocolate bar or something like that, or granola bar, just to bring me back up again. So I was finding there were certain things I couldn't eat. Yeah. So we need to listen to our bodies of what it's sharing with us at any particular time. Because, this is why I always say to people, if you are going out eating in a restaurant and you're not sure what to get, close your eyes, open the menu, then open your eyes and just let your finger go down with the, this is what. Of course, if you end up on the chocolate gâteau, then you need to be questioning that. But, most times I'll find I get to something and I go, I haven't tried that before. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to eat that today and that's what I'm going to eat. But for me, as long as I got at least 5 or 6 veggies on my plate at any given time, I'm fine.
Yeah. I mean, if you're having issues, whether it be physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, look at what you're eating. First.
What you're putting in here as well.
Right. Because if you're putting fear into your body, guess what? That's what you're going to feel.
Yeah. It creates that.
You're going to feel fear. If you're putting positive energy into your body from high vibrational foods, fruits, vegetables, that's mainly what I eat. Like people ask me, well, what do you do for your protein? Well, protein powder, and I do smoothies now I try not to do smoothies every day because of the processing of the protein powder, because of this process. So I try to be gentle on my liver in that respect. But so I'll have my smoothie like every other day, and then I'll substitute something else for breakfast, or sometimes I'll skip breakfast. Don't tell anybody. Sometimes I skip it if I'm busy, but
most important.
Yeah, I know. Or I'm sorry. I'll have a protein bar. I'll have a protein bar.
It's quite funny because there's some days that I have breakfast and I don't eat to the end of the day, and a lot of people go, "Oh my God!" But that's just sometimes I get so immersed in my work and what I'm doing that it's like my body says, I'm okay, you're fine. Just keep drinking your tea or sipping your water, or you're good until then I get to the point it's like, okay, I'm going to eat now. So
learn how to read your own body.
Yes, very important.
People don't know how to talk to their body. They don't know how to read their own body.
Yeah.
Learn how to muscle test yourself. You can muscle test yourself for anything. You can use your pendulum. You can use your own body as a pendulum. Ask your body, what am I putting in my body right now that is, is this good for me or not? Should I be eating this today? Like, I'll eat something today that won't resonate with me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay? And what the beauty of this is, and I got to go to the technology part, is that I can now check myself to see if I'm on the point. So if I say, okay, today I need, barley grass powder, or whatever I'm eating, greens or whatever. And tomorrow, let's say my body doesn't need it, and I'll pendulum it, or I'll body muscle test myself. Then I'll go to my technology and I'll say, okay, let's see, let me record the vibration of this food. Okay, which I can do with this device. I can record the vibration of the food and check to make sure that I am on point with it. And I will tell you 99.9% of the time, I'm right on.
Yeah. And of course, the other thing is, because everybody's resonating at a different vibration,
right?
What you may be able to eat, I may not, and vice versa.
That's right.
Because at that particular time. So that's also very important to acknowledge. And that's why I'm saying, it's funny because I many years ago I had gone to see my GP, and we were talking about different ways and natural things. He was very open to listening to my side of the story, if you like, because he knew that I would only go and see him as the last resort. And we had this lovely conversation, and he had said then, what people don't understand with things when when they can contract colds or things like that there's so many things that they can naturally bring into them. He said, I know this sounds strange, he said, for a doctor saying this, but having chicken soup does actually help, or some kind of broth. Or, and of course I said, so if my body's saying that I need to eat chocolate, that's good. And he said, well, actually, a very high content of cacao in chocolate, and of course, we're not talking about a whole bar, we're talking about a square, if eaten on a regular basis, will build your immune system.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. And of course, I was sharing with friends. I'm like, no, we're not talking about your dairy milk. It's the very dark and bitter chocolate that not everybody loves, but you could put it into a drink or something like that and drink it that way. But, and there are so many wonderful natural things that we can do. And again, he said, people just come running to their GP with this expectation of fix me. Whereas, like we've said, this begins and ends with us, and we need to step inside to know what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and what we're actually putting into our body in so many ways that, we can, our body, it's an amazing machine.
The human body is fascinating. I'm telling you, I am so fascinated with my body.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
And all the beautiful things that it's able to do, and how we can, as humans, heal ourselves. And we can do that. Yes. It is possible. I am walking proof of it.
Yes.
And one day when I write my book, you'll all find out why. And that's a whole nother conversation. But agreeing with you that bioenergetically, we are so complex. There's so many differences in human beings, even though we are all related and we are all one. We're all so different, and that is the yin and the yang of it. And the fact of the matter is, we have the technology now available to us to help us address our individual bioenergetic fields in this way through frequency. And I've got to come back to this because, when you have 144,000 different frequencies available to your bioenergetic field, can you imagine the possibilities of what that's going to help you with? It's all tailored to the person. It's not like each person gets the same one.
Yeah.
This little thing will, it's called a Healy. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. So it's called a Healy, and I've got it on right here. I don't know if you can see it. Here, I'll take it off. Here it is, right here. This little device, and it delivers 144,000 frequencies to the body. Mm-hmm. It's also a Class 2 medical device approved by the FDA for arthritis, fibro pain, muscle recovery. But it's so much more than that. And it connects us spiritually, it connects us emotionally, it connects us mentally, physically.
On all levels. And here's the thing,
oh my gosh.
If anybody watching wants to find this out, Perla's information is below. Yeah. Contact her directly. Yeah. Don't come to me, because some people say, tell me about what your guest was talking about. Contact the guest. Yeah. So so if there's, the information is below. So is there anything at the moment other than what you've just shared with us that you have any offers or any upcoming trainings or services or products that you'd like to share today?
Yeah, I have a plethora of things available for people. I can, I work out of Fine Herbs on Howard and Windsor, but I also have a client
in Ontario, not in the UK. I emphasize that because we have people from around the world.
I'm there a couple of days a week. I do bioenergetic health coaching, healing work, readings, you know, my soul portraits, whatever you like. I have a plethora of services available, and I combine them. You know, I don't say that I do one thing anymore, because it's all these modalities are combined now, and I'm not too sure what I do anymore, but
it's okay. And again, a lot of the services and products that Perla's offering here can also be done distance-wise. Yeah. So again, it's a case of contacting. So thank you, Perla. Everyone watching, join us next Monday at noon Eastern when I have another amazing guest where we share the positive and raise the vibration. So on the 14th of September, I have Laura Lee Popvin, and our conversation is going to be extreme paranormal, catalyst for light worker. On September the 21st, I have Jackie Simmons, who's created the Advocates Training Program, and our conversation is going to be, it's tough, but we have to talk. She has dealt with a lot of teen suicides and suicide prevention, so that's going to be an interesting one. September the 28th, I have Gina Benston, who is AKA the Parafox, and she'll be joining me for Knock Knock. Who's there? Which I think is absolutely wonderful. So we've given you these titles to tweak your interest, and hope you turn up at noon Eastern on Monday, or you can watch the show afterwards. Finally, a reminder that I post something positive every day on my YouTube channel, which you're here at the moment. Could be a mindfulness minute meditation, pick a card, affirmation sharing, etc. Of course, my weekly readings up there now, which is from 1 to infinity. Hopefully that tweaks your interest. So again, thank you, Perla, for joining us, for sharing today, and wishing everybody that's here and who's watching afterwards a vibrational day, embracing your true vibrational blessings.
Okay.